If you say, I've got this, I'm never going to drink again, you've already drunk. Because it shows you've not understood your problem. And if you understood your problem, you know one of the criteria of alcoholism in the definition is it is relapsing. My parents tried everything to get me help. They tried psychiatrists, psychologists, prayers, free prayers, paid for prayers. Maybe the past, guys are grabbing the prayers before they reach where I am. So Ejay hires a pastor to come to the house in the Huyu, pray for him. It didn't work. And ultimately, I was taken to a witch doctor when they had tried everything more than once. So that didn't work. And when that didn't work the third time, in another clan meeting, my parents announced everybody to stop, told my mom, told my wife, told my kids, told everybody, stop chasing this guy, leave him. Then he made his prayer, which I'll never forget. He said, God, you see everything. We have tried to help our firstborn David, and you have seen. So God, we are reminding you, he's also your son. So we are handing him back to you. So maybe you can call him so that he can rest, so that we can also rest. My name is David Ogot Sr. I'm a recovering alcoholic, is what I always start with. My dad still doesn't like it, 22 years down the line. That was my main drug of choice. I smoked cigarettes also for 27 years. I did other drugs here and there, mainly weed, but weed didn't take me nicely. Journalist by profession, print and electronic. I'm a father. Actually, I'm a grandfather. I'm the programs director of two NGOs. One is a media-based one, which partners with the goinghomedotcom trust, which helps on issues around addiction, from awareness, which is prevention, policy, training, and basically to reduce or to try and eradicate the stigma which surrounds alcoholism and other drug addiction, which I believe is one of the biggest barriers preventing people to get help from what technically, as far as I'm concerned, is a very simple problem. There's really a problem with the definition of what alcoholism is. And I want to use alcohol just to represent the other drugs. And I had been taken in my 27-year career as a terrorist. I call addicts, we're like terrorists. We terrorize ourselves, we terrorize our families, we terrorize society. So my 27-year career as a terrorist, my parents tried everything to get me help. They tried psychiatrists, psychologists, prayers, free prayers, paid for prayers. Maybe the past, guys are grabbing the prayers before they reach where I am. So Ejay hires a pastor to come to the house in the Huyu, pray for him. It didn't work. And ultimately, I was taken to a witch doctor when they had tried everything more than once. And the witch doctor was tried 3 times, one in Shags. I took off. Twice in Nairobi. I was staying in the SQ in my parents' compound. So that didn't work. And when that didn't work the third time, in another clan meeting, my parents announced everybody to stop, told my mom, told my wife, told my kids, told everybody, stop chasing this guy, leave him. Then he made his prayer, which I'll never forget. He said, God, you see everything. We have tried to help our firstborn David, and you have seen. So God, we are reminding you, he's also your son. So we are handing him back to you. So maybe you can call him so that he can rest, so that we can also rest. I've never forgotten that prayer. In fact, we laugh with my dad so many times nowadays. And that's when I got to a rehab. And at the rehab, I was very lucky because there were 4 American volunteer counselors and also the late Calleb Angira, who I called an idiot. Actually, I called him, "You are a stupid old man." May he rest in peace. And because when he was telling me what my problem was and what the solution was, it didn't make sense. Actually, it sounded very stupid. That's why I called him a stupid old man. But on the 14th day, thereabouts, some young fellow comes in and makes a statement like the one I had made like 2 weeks before. And that's when I understood what alcoholism was. And that's when I got very annoyed and started planning what I do today, which morphed into the goinghomedotcom trust, where we've developed a program called SATCAT, which is actually the acronym for Set a Thief, to catch a thief. And over the years, in all these counseling places I've been, people tell me, "No, you need to get something which sounds professional, which sounds serious, which sounds cancelly, put in some therapeutic sounding words." I said, "No, I've refused. It's SATCAT, self-explanatory." Because one of the things we believe, yes, we use counseling theories and whatever, and techniques to operate SATCAT, but the basic premise of it, and you hear people saying, bring your fellow to my rehab, we'll fix him, or I can fix him, or our rehab can fix him. As far as I know, I might be wrong, but what I learned long ago, even before I stopped drinking, is the only human being you can change in this world, addict or otherwise, is yourself. So what I say, how can I help you help yourself? This is one of the bottom lines in SATCAT. The thing also I tell guys who bring patients, there's no guarantee. I can drink tomorrow. I think last year when Calleb Angira died, I almost relapsed. And that's why we say a day at a time. Right now I'm operating until midnight. At midnight, boom, account goes to zero. It's a day, so it's always today. You see, actually, I never planned to start an office. You remember I've said my background is media. So when I found out in 14 days what had terrorized me and my family and my friends, for all that time, I got annoyed. So I said, in fact, I wrote my first article, letter to the editor, when I was in rehab. I hadn't even clocked a month, Daily Nation. I said, when I leave, I'm going to use the media to tell people you are being cheated. This thing is not this, it's this. That was all I had planned to do because I was angry. I finished my 3 months. I extended by 1 month. And I remember the rehab I was in, that December, Calleb came to Nairobi. The Americans went to Christmas, Masai Mara holidays. So we were on our own. So everyone went on strike, except me and a guy called Muigai, since there are many Muigais, who is still sober, by the way. They all went on strike. Why do we have to wake up every morning, 6 a.m., meditation, what, tell our stories? Let's wait, if a new fellow comes, then why do we have sessions? We've already, and they used to call, my nickname in rehab was teacher's pet. Because I would write notes. Those notes actually I need to convert into a book. I would write notes, I would ask questions. Excuse me, my hand is up. So they used to laugh. Look at this guy, teacher's pet. He thinks he's going to get a gold star. What, there's going to be an exam. And I used to tell them, there's going to be an exam. If you pass, you live. If you fail, you'll die. There's a railway track which brings us from all over Kenya and beyond. The rehab I was in, you'd find guys from Tanzania, Uganda, There were very few. It was one of the very few rehabs at that time. This is in 2000. So I tell them, these railway tracks from wherever they come from, they end here. And those bogies, those carriages which are bringing fresh people, go back with those who have passed the exam. The ones who have failed the exam, there's a cemetery behind the wall. Story yako inaishia, your story ends there in the cemetery. So me, I want when I leave here, I am not coming back unless I'm bringing another patient. Some of those guys are dead, including my roommate. Some are still parking cars, and they were young men. Those days, the old men parking cars near Koja Mosque, still using heroin. If you look at them, they just look like a puff of wind, they'll blow over. Me, I'm still standing a day at a time because of the program. And the man upstairs. So I come out, I'm going media stations. I remember the first article I wrote was in Nation. And Macharia Gaido, the editor at that time, was my senior in Lenana. And I told him, I'm writing this thing on condition you are allowing, when you sub-edit, I see the finished product and approve before it is printed. And he said, no problem. And that's what we did. And then I'm writing another one. Then I'm on TV. I think the first program I went to was Frank Njenga. Then calls are coming. Then I need somewhere to sit. And still no plan of an office. And I'm thinking, yes, actually I left rehab like Jesus. That, hallelujah, I have got the solution to mankind's problems with these things. I'm going to save the world. Forgetting what they did to Jesus. I was thinking I could do a better job. So one thing led to another. Then, because addiction is the way it is, because alcoholism is the way it is, I start thinking, because now I'm going to these funny places I used to drink, the Karomindos, the Changa dens, in Nairobi, CBD. So I went to some of these dens to tell these guys, my friend, Eureka, hallelujah. You are dying because of lack of knowledge. I have found the knowledge. You are alcoholics. And they are saying, yes, mother, give them around. Me, I'm drinking soda. So they're listening. The next day I come back, I'm thinking I'm doing good, and I'm going to convince them they need to go to rehab. And then on just 4, 5, 6 days, forgetting I had been told, avoid slippery places and slippery people. Those people are more than you. It is easier for them to pull you back in than for you as an individual to pull them out. You proceed with your life. They will see the huge change. Then that change should attract them. But I said, no, I'm Jesus. I've got this thing. I am never going to drink again. By the way, if there's anybody watching this who is in the recovery road and is in a rehab, and once you say, I always tell them when I go to rehabs, if you say, I've got this, I'm never going to drink again, you've already drunk. Because it shows you've not understood your problem. And if you understood your problem, you know one of the criteria of alcoholism in the definition is it is relapsing. It is chronic, no cure. That's why I call myself recovering. 22, I'm sober a day at a time. Today, 3 o'clock, whatever the time is, so far, since I woke up, so good. So after some days, they are nodding. So I'm thinking I'm doing good. Then I walk in one day and they start laughing. This guy is cheating us. We know, tell us the truth. Your wife said if you drink again, she's leaving you. They laugh. Another one says, he said he went to a witch doctor. He was given something. If he drinks, he'll get seriously sick. He can. They laugh. Mother, bring me a glass. So I drank a glass to show them. And I said, tomorrow I'll even come with my wife and drink another glass when she's here. And she'll tell you she's not running away. And you'll see if I'm sick and what. So I drank a glass, continued talking to them, then went home. Then I asked myself, wait a minute. I've just taken alcohol. And I was told, loss of control. Once you drink, So next day, I said, no, I'm not going to drink changa, but let me drink a beer. So I'm preaching to them, but I'm drinking beer. And I'm saying, I'm not drinking more than 2. Then I go home. So that's how my relapse went, pole. Then I said, no, let me start going back to the nightclubs, to DJ. Incidentally, I have written an article in Nation, which was very well received. I've written one or two other papers. I've been interviewed. I've done several things. Then I relapsed. So one of the first places I entered in Hurlingham. So I enter, I'm hearing people whispering, yes, yeah, yes, yeah. So somebody comes and asks me, excuse me, are you the one we saw? You had written a very nice article in the newspaper recently. I said it was me. And then they point, so what is this you are doing? Then I told them, no, excuse me. That article I wrote was about when I had stopped drinking. Now the article of now I'm drinking again, see, you wait for it. Why are you disturbing me on my table? Am I disturbing you on your table? Go away. But I told myself, I'm now convinced I'm an alcoholic. It's not story of drinking out. I then understood loss of control. Loss of control being once I drink, the pombe is in charge. Until that pombe leaves my body. This is 2001. Just when I've left the rehab, I think I didn't last even a month. Before I had my first relapse, actually a sleep, then the sleep became a relapse, and then it became now full-blown, of which I think I drank for about 3 months before this, again, my second light bulb moment. And since then, it has been a day at a time, through thick and thin. So now, as I was saying, you're going, people are coming, I need a place to sit. That's how the office came. And at this point also, I am reading books. And people are saying, I'm reading a book, it's this big. They're looking at the title, I'm reading like a novel. So they're asking me, are you understanding what you are reading? Because again, the disease is showing me, if I read long enough and hard enough, I will find a way to drink safely. And that is how our resource center started. I was buying all manner of books. Sure, there must be a way where I can drink, but not end in a mess. And that's how the office started. You need somewhere to sit. Of course, now I'm learning more. Initially, I was just going out telling my story anywhere I could get, whether it's radio, TV, a school, an office. You know, some neighbors get together, bring their kids, bring them. So anywhere I could get a venue. At one time, I wanted to do it, places like Kencom, bus stops, where I used to do my comedy things when we don't have money and we're trying to raise 100 shillings to go and buy changa. So then now people start asking me, starting with my family, we were not seeing you because you were drinking. You are spending all your time drinking. So, watoto, children, no father. Wife, no husband. You are still spending every coin you can on alcohol, except now telling people about, my friend, what is your problem? See, that God who has helped you is there, will help them. You've done it 2, 3, 4 years. It's enough. Let somebody else do it. Why are you doing this? People who I got a proposal writer to do as proposals. How do we get funding to run the office? The guy quit after 6 months. Beautiful proposals. I have carton boxes. Name any big corporate or whatever. I have. No, unfortunately, we do not whatever, but it's a very good initiative. We wish you well. Unfortunately, this year our budget, unfortunately, but all of them, common did very good initiative. We know you will get help. So I said, let me start with what I have, which is my story. I'm a media guy. And in fact, one of the mantras of goinghomedotcom trust is our stories will set us free. Some of us became HIV positive because of drug use. Some of us are in wheelchairs because of drug use. Some of us are blind. Some of us lost jobs. Some of us lost families. All the bad effects from drug use is represented in our stories. So that somebody out there watching, first of all, gets the hope that, this is a disease and that there's a way out. Because even I used to think rehabs are things you read in novels, you see in movies. They are in Europe and the Americas. They are not here. So this is why we said we must do this. Then again, I am looking, there's a reason I am not dead. You know, life, there's no coincidence. Everything, even me ending up on this show the first time, where we actually came on 13th, our lucky number, finally. And then you find what I was running away from has the most views than all other shows I've ever done. Because I've done over 300 interviews on different TV stations. There are programs I did with very famous presenters. You see 6,000 views, 10,000 views. This one, the calls, the comments, I think less than a week, it was 40,000 or almost 40,000. I'm getting calls from New Zealand, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe. I think there were 6 or 7 African countries, somewhere near Trinidad, Tobago, etc. And these are not calls saying congratulations or we watched, but these were people actually saying, we have a problem, can you help? And then thinking on my feet, I'm thinking, okay, all these things we've been going through because of Corona, Zoom, and whatever. So you are far away on another continent, but we set up, we set up counseling programs which are still running through Zoom, going, and it's actually working, where you are seeing and they're reporting back, and we're asking, okay, do you have rehabs there or whatever? But first of all, even just to get an understanding, the fellow is pissed off, we've tried ABCD, and then even from here, people coming in, you know, I have a brother, whoever, you know, we think you can help based on what you see. So the phone was like ringing like crazy. It usually rings like crazy after a show, and then, you know, it starts petering down after 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a week at the most. This one is still ringing. And then you find what I was running away from has the most views than all other shows I've ever done. Which then, what am I doing these shows for? Is to reduce stigma, is to let people know there's help. There's people who watched that show, who are still going to watch it, who have gone to get help, who I will never know, and I like repeating, and there's no need to know them. The purpose of the show is done. And to me, if only one person watched the other one, if only one person will watch this one and get help, oh, to me, that should be a gold, what does YouTube call those things? A gold, whatever, for 1 million, whatever. One. Because I am one person. And it is one program. And I am sober one day at a time. In 2003, I wrote an article in People newspaper in my column saying that we should have alcohol awareness day or week or month, how we have in other countries. So I thought guys will come out and say, good idea, what? Ministry of Health, somebody, Nakada, who? Nobody. So I wrote another article after about 2-3 weeks. No response, not even a letter to the editor saying, good idea. You know those ones where you think of writing to yourself so that... Then some guy said, why don't you do it yourself? So then I said, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a lot of noise about this till somebody decides to do something. Meanwhile, I'll wear T-shirts with drug messages, drug abuse messages for 1 year in protest. So whether I was going to church, your wedding, it's a function, I'm guest of honor, T-shirts. So those are some of those Nakada T-shirts, other T-shirts, Ministry of Health, etc. So get to October 1, 2004. Nobody has done anything, nobody has responded, nobody's excited. So we started, the first one we did was alcohol and HIV. I can't remember the exact number of programs, but we had several programs on different TV stations, radio stations, and several articles, not only the ones I wrote, but guys being interviewed etc. So we have 22 volunteers. It's 02, my birthday is 02. In 2022, we have 22 programs, 22 volunteers. We were supposed to have shut down 6 months into 201. We're in 10 counties, still with no funding. So we must be doing something right. And ultimately, my wife, my toys, all became part of this. And I simply mix everything else I was doing. I mix my comedy, I mix my music, and I want to do 2 songs, I mix my writing. Everything is to fight this stigma. Either in a workshop, a program like this, an article. How do you get, in whichever form, drama. We were supposed to have made movies by now. Movies, live documentaries, we made 1 or 2, including 3 with the late head of our video, Kim Kimeria. We made 3 videos for WHO Vienna to be used by psychologists and psychiatrists to train them how to help people stop smoking. We said, we don't have the money. The proposals are all being turned down. I've now realized that even Jesus, his was planned. He had to be crucified. So I need to learn from Jesus. I'm not going to save the world. I'm going to show the world how to save itself. The first thing we were saying, we need a resource. Remember those books I was reading that if I read long enough, those ended up becoming the resource center. Now, I'm an author. My late mom was an author. People ask me, do I really have, the people think I have a real PhD. The one you get in the university, not the one you get in the University of Life and Addiction. Why? Because of the way I talk. I sound educated. But it is reading. And I even ask my staff, we don't have money to pay a course for you, but if we could get money to pay a counseling course for you, see, when you reach there, you will find the same books which are here. Do you read better when you pay fees? And the books are here free. So you start here, we have no money for the course. So each of these things, the novels library was meant to be people, that's why it's called Grace Ogot, You and I Read Libraries. People register to borrow novels, that 50 bob a novel or whatever it is, you pay the nominal registration fee of 1,500 whatever, and that subsidizes the program in the informal settlements, which is free. The kids are supposed to pay like 100 bob a year. A vehicle comes around once a week, they borrow enough novels or whatever, books for the week, and so on. So that one was one of the programs which started like that, because again, based on my background. There are people we've taught video production, etc., which we then use within the organization, or they themselves are able to use this to earn a living, filming weddings and whatever. But at the same time, we are documenting our own stuff. Because from there now came a research center. But a research center where your materials. So you see, this thing was growing exponentially. Now, the research center, where it has reached, is an NGO by its own. In fact, all these activities are NGOs by their own. If you look at the scope, and they are NGOs by their own. This thing I was saying, the program in the informal settlement, we wanted to do, essay competitions, essay spelling bees, all this, of which part of the prizes would be books, so that kids start their own home libraries. If there are 10 kids here in a row, 10 different houses, and each of these kids have 10 books, those are 100 books there. You finish, you exchange, etc. Okay? Now you find books were coming. One, we have no space. Then we didn't have shelves. So they're in cartons. Uchumi literally gave us shelves. So many shelves that if we saw our shelf problem for even the next 10, 15 years is over. Even if we are sent 5, 6, 7, 8 more containers or books, it's over. This is where most of the furniture landed. As we said, from Uchumi, can see all over, couldn't fit inside. Resources are also there. We begged, we got tarpaulin to cover. And from day one, theft, through the fence, neighbors coordinating. And these tarpaulins are not cheap. They are tearing them, they pull them aside, they are tearing them. So what is this? All behind. In fact, the whole compound was full. And our problem has been termites. We really struggle. Mombasa, we had a program we have a museum. That's another initiative. We collect, and people used to think, I think there was some point somebody took some photos of me in a rubbish dump. I was looking, when I see rubbish dumps, I get very excited. I was looking for alcohol bottles, other things, cigarette packets for a museum. Now, you find the museum, things we've collected, they were rained on. They were eaten by termites. And these are things, even somebody sends you some very unique piece of takataka in other people's eyes, but for us it's priceless. And then you found it was eaten by rats. And this is something of 1960-something or 70-something or 80-something. To us it is priceless. And these we literally had to put out and open page by page, drying it page by page, dries a bit, otherwise they stick and you can't separate, they'll tear. Then we came up with whatever's, put in cellophane, etc., put in the microwave, so all kinds of things to salvage. So these are the last few we are trying to see how to sort. You see, all our digests, these are condensed books. Beautiful things, and old. Beautiful, look, beautiful. Condensed books, Reader's Digest. These are, you can't get these. These were when Reader's Digest was Reader's Digest. Look. These ones we couldn't, we tried. We're still trying to see what to do, you see. Much as all this is going on, people are still calling for counseling. We're doing. National Awareness Month, we are in the 17th one with a theme. We're putting stuff out, etc. Dude Riders is working. All this stuff, all the 22 initiatives are working, you see, in spite of all this. So it's really frustrating outside there. People are thinking, hey, these guys are asking for unga. These guys are asking for sugar. That's a joke. So we saw these guys here. We saw these guys here. We saw these guys here. Because the work must continue. So, bottom line, we need to be allowed the freedom to work optimally. Right now, we are not working optimally because there are too many distractions. Okay, I would say we are working at approximately 20 to 25% of our potential. Can somebody deal with this so that my team and I are able to do what our lives were spared to do, which is to help your people and you help yourself. So at some point now I'm saying all these resources are being destroyed. What if something happens to me? Because I'm trying to put structures in place so that if anything happens to me, this thing continues. I'm trying to put structures in place so that you don't have to come. If like now, Mheshimiwa Wairimu in Kiambu County, let the people of Kiambu, if it's in Kajiado County, if it's Nairobi County, if it's Machakos, if it's Meru, if it's Mombasa, if it's Busia, let's have these different things. If it's the museum, let it be in one county. If it's this, let it be in another county. When are we going to start the rehabs, which is our end game? So I've always said the focus, remember you won't last for 6 months. But then I'm saying there's this epiphany I've had in rehab. Am I going to sit and wait for money to start? And if this 22 years down the line, I was still waiting for money, even that number 001 as we call it, how many would have gone? Which we could have helped them help themselves. So I always say, do the work. If you do the work and it's God's office, the money will follow. Because another of our mottos, and our actual motto for the goinghomedotcom trust, is touching lives through inspiration. That's what we do through our stories. But the other one we say is, it takes so little to give so much. Do you have 22 bob? The minimum the pay bill takes is 10 bob. Can you talk to 10 friends? Each of you give 10 bob. That's 100 bob. There's a place anybody can come in. Anytime you do a financial transaction, digital, for example on Mpesa, what is remaining? 10 bob, 15 bob, 18 bob, those odd shillings. Can you send them our way? If 1 million Kenyans said, let me give him 10 bob today, that's what I have. That is 10 million. And then tomorrow he says, so you have another 10 bob. And the day after, and the day. At the end of the month, those 1 million Kenyans would have given 300 bob each. But that would be 300 million. I would then be able to start my NGO, which I promised on the other show and is still on my bucket list, that one day before the Lord calls me, I must start an NGO to fund NGOs who are doing good work but have no money. One day at a time, one person at a time, 1 shilling at a time. During COVID, when I was writing all over, I talked to the program officer in charge of rehabilitation in Nakada, and she told me, write an email. In fact, this same Nakada, we were amongst the people who set up Nakada with the first boss, Bwana Kagudi. We set up Nakada. Nakada started in KICC with only one officer, Joseph Kagudi. The rest were recovering addicts and some doctors. So I'm writing a letter to introduce myself 20 years down the line, and we set up where you are sitting. So I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Proper letter on a letterhead typed, went to the cyber, sent it with letterhead reference number, where I even attached a 6-page summary of the trust, how it started, what we do, achievements, ministries we've worked with, and so on. Now I'm very happy, telling my people, wait, Nakada. After 2 weeks, I call. Didn't the letter come? And I had copied to her. Then she said, oh, no, sorry, just. So next I hear my WhatsApp, I check. There's a copy of the letter the CEO has written on top, we don't support such, and signed. So I called her and said, okay, I've seen it. Can you just send that back to me formally so that I put it in the file? See, I sent a proper letter. She said no. And then I screenshotted it because I knew it would disappear. So I have the screenshot. We don't support such. We asked ourselves, if you don't support such with a track record, which can be seen. Because in this business, if I can call it a business, proof of the pudding. Either you are helping people help themselves, or you are not. And if you are not, whatever you are saying, sijui what, sijui it's complicated, sijui, those are stories. Write a novel. We'll put it in our library. So my focus, always on the beneficiary. Always on the beneficiary. If whatever will come, but the person you helped themselves today. Even if money did not come that day, even if you slept hungry, and God has provided, we have not slept hungry. Nobody's house has been locked. Kids have gone to Form 1 under Grace of God scholarships. And that is why now on this program, which I had not planned to say, and I think when I tell people God speaks to me, they laugh. The first 17 people look for me. The contacts will be somewhere. Look for me. The rehab is 350,000 per month. Minimum 3 months. High cost. But I'm saying, look for me. The first 17 people who come, let's see what you have. And here I'm going to say, for this time, when I was in India, I used to go and get credit at the shops. So if I was the first customer, the Indian would tell me, no, sit there first. Because the belief was, if he gives you credit and you're the first customer, the rest of the day it will be the same. So you tell, you sit first until I get the first paying customer. I told the owner of the rehab, Catherine, because she was saying, and she's, why we are on the same page with her. She said, put in even some pro bono people who cannot pay, because I'm paying rent. At the end of the day, whether there's nobody there, I'm paying rent. So while you are still setting the strike, put in some. I told her no. I believe if we start like that. But if somebody could pay, like for the program we run, for example, for the police, if somebody could pay for officers, and I know right now 7 who need serious help, you can pay for them. We can convert that to do for the police. Because if it wasn't for Kenya Police, I would have died long ago. And that's why you see I have a soft spot for Kenya Police. So I am saying right now, not the ones who have nothing. I want 17 people, come with what you have. Because we only have 17 beds. We only have 17 beds. So I need 17, look for us, come with what you have, let's see. This is what I am calling Christmas, New Year, my 2022 times 5 in 2022, Valentine, my birthday, offer. New Year offer, all rolled in one. Because what is the goal? The goal is all those programs dovetail into one thing, fight the stigma. Number one, because that is the biggest problem preventing addicts getting help. So everything must move there to first fight the stigma so that people say, oh, it's a disease. Very good. Is there help? Yes, the guy said, Google rehabs, you'll get. We have to then unthink, because there is the religious point of view. There's the psychiatric point of view. I remember the other doctor I talked about. Don't say which one. Yes, that one, the witch doctor. So all these views are out there competing for the same pool, and the addicts are passing in between on the way to the graveyards and leaving families broke. Amos Murigu, the guy who took BAT to court because his leg was amputated because of tobacco, literally won the case, then they appealed. They have battalions of lawyers. They keep you tied up. So they tell you, here, take these millions, forget this nonsense. Okay, your leg went fine. Can give you 5M, 10M, whatever, leave this. He refused. Murigu went because we didn't have enough money to sustain him. Lydiah and Njeri Mathu, Rasta, went, kidney, liver failed. Sometimes we didn't have money, her house is locked. You start drinking. So at one point, Lydiah disappeared. Then finally she calls me, where are you? Kenyatta. So I walk into Kenyatta. Njeri's hair is, all the dreads are gone. And she had beautiful dreadlocks, gone. Her hair is wispy, like a 90-year-old woman, thin, white. So, I walked in to the ward And I saw her, and I saw if I react shocked, which I was, it will just finish her. So I actually laughed and said, Njeri, I told you alcohol will kill you. Now you see. And the other women in the ward wanted to throw things at me. How can I laugh and talk and, And she's the one who said, no, that's a joke we have between us. And then the next thing I'm saying, I wish I had carried the camera so I can film you before you die. I have never entered a mortuary in my life. Even my late mother, I did not enter. The only time I entered a mortuary is Lydiah and Njeri Mathu, Kenyatta. Carmen, Tiiri, the one who started doing my dreads initially. Again. Pombe weed. Went. Useless death. Needless. We have their stories on tape, etc., so they will continue talking. So the remaining ones, myself included, Wairimu, our Kiambu CEO. Wairimu was on weed and alcohol. Parents tried, you are a grown-up, sort yourself out. We are not wasting any more money. So we took her to another drop-in center in Ngara, which I'm also a trustee, Maisha House. It's free. There's one in Ngara, there's one in Kangware, and we're opening one again if we can get funding in Ngatarongai. Wairimu got sober, and because of the work she was doing there with other addicts, the ladies came and said, no, if you are doing this with your own resources, how much more could you help our children if you have some resources? She became an MCA. They voted her in during Governor Kabogo's time. So we now call her Mheshimiwa. And when she got in, boom, Kiambu office, now we had a physical location, blah, blah, other stuff. She would come to the Ngatarongai office, rent, 3 months, 4 months. There's a lady who is a human rights lawyer, but also has a barber and salon in Upper Hill, has said, myself and our volunteers, for as long as she's open, which has been many years now, we pedicure, manicure, hair, what we will never pay. Legal issues. Because when they were in Form 2, or thereabouts in Alliance Girls, and we had gone there to talk, they wrote a note, after hearing your story, we will never use alcohol or other drugs. 2 are now doctors. I met them in medical school, Kabete. Mr. Ogot, yes. I know you don't remember us. And they were doing final year. I said, no idea. I said, remember those 3 girls in Alliance? We are 2 of them. They are now doctors. There are people who have come back and said, no, we are sober. Thank you for helping us help ourselves. We noticed when you come to your office, there's no chairs. I have 10 plastic chairs. Can they help? Bring. People come to one of our offices, you'll find a leather sofa set. Think now, they're saying they don't have money. No. Dr. Abdul, thank you, UNODC. When they sell their stuff periodically every year, he said, he had come, he found 2 plastic chairs in our reception. He said, those ones are going to going home reception. If I hear they went anywhere else, heads will roll. I have an old computer. So people come, they see we have nothing, literally we are bought. And the initial computers were bought by my brothers when they were in US, along with a lot of cameras I was using. My brothers, thank you. My mom, my dad, to date. My dad calls me philanthropist with no money. My wife, my kids. So a lot of people come and say, we are sober, We are going back. I'm a lawyer. I've gone back. Thank you. So to me, it is a highly successful program. Because what is the cost of one life? What value do we put on one life? That people say, oh, some people have said, now, what are the numbers? What are the numbers? You are spending all this money, rents, what, nini, what, buying books, what, getting, what, cameras, it, all this. For how many people? Say, don't say how many people. For which person? That first one is worth it. What is the price of that person's life? I hope the first program brought me to the second one. I hope the second one will bring me to the third one. Except I hope in the third one, I am thanking people who watched this one and responded finally, 22 years down the line, to the hashtag. And then we do a third program where we are saying, boom, we are reporting 17 people came, because even Catherine wants to open 47 rehabs in each county. So, Catherine, yes, I've said that, but you said I was the director, so please don't get annoyed. Please, 17 guys, I'm waiting. When we started, we had one book. When we started, we had no office. When we started, we went for a while and I relapsed. Not once, not twice, 3 or 4 times. But then I got the hang of it and then helped some guys help themselves who came, and then an office came, and now we're in 10 counties, 37. So something is working. Something is working. We're going to do another 22 years of touching lives through inspiration and set it up in a way if any of us goes, the remaining people will continue. So, to put it arrogantly, even if you refuse to help us, as we are continuing,